For all episodes and more information, please visit us at marriedmillions.com.
Now, all that being said, especially with how you got started in the business, what advice would you give to another couple looking to start in your industry?
Whoa. Another couple that is looking to start in our industry, I would say have a lot, well, Korea will have a very different answer than I will. Have a lot of passion for the industry, know exactly why it is that you want to start it, because your competition is going to be fierce. Wine companies are owned by conglomerates like companies called Constellation Brands or Fortune Brands, and these are publicly traded companies. Even if you look at wineries in Napa, most of those are no longer, I won't say most, but a significant number of those are no longer owned by families. Those are owned by corporations. So you're competing against corporations that have very hefty marketing dollars to spend to back their brands, and that's going to be a major issue. If you are deciding to start something from scratch, that'll be a major issue that you'll have to compete with. Fareed, what do you think?
I think it depends on what your background is. I think it depends on how much resources you have saved up. I think it depends on if you have children or not. I mean, I think that dynamic could be a lot different depending on those three different variables. Or case in point would be if you don't have children and you have some money saved up, that you have the time and ability to do it, I would say, yeah, you should take the risk, because if you're young, the reward is really, really great, and your responsibility level is really, really low. You're only responsible for yourself, and your spouse is responsible for his or herself. So when you think about it like that, that's the part of time you should be the riskiest in your life. If you have children, I would probably think twice about it. Think twice about if both of you guys should be really doing something entrepreneurial when you got a child. So I think it just depends on on what the resources, like what resources you have. If you come from a rich family, you got a rich background where you got some money to spend, and yeah, but both financial resources and just regular. And I'm talking financial resources and overall resources like time capacity. If you don't have help and you got kids, it's tough for you to run a business, be an entrepreneur, and also be a parent.
Now, Fareed, I've heard you mention in your answer a couple of times that kids are a factor. How are they a factor? I guess pro, con, or just effort that's needed to actually run this business in your industry?
I think about having kids, right? And it depends on what your priorities are when you have children, but my priority as a man first is to be a husband and then a father. So I take, before I'm an entrepreneur, and a businessman, that's what I am. So for me, that's a big responsibility. It's a huge responsibility, and when I think about it like that, that takes up a lot of your time. So to make a business work, especially a business in my industry, and I think this applies to any industry, to make a startup business work, you have to dedicate enormous amounts of time to the business. Not 100%, but you're dedicating, 150%. There have been many nights when we're up, I would argue 20 hours a day, non-stop working. And if you don't have the capacity to do that because you have children, then I would just think again. Or unless you have the resources to balance you out, if you have children, you have help, whether that's parents, whether you can afford to have extra help. All those variables play in. So that's the con. From a pro standpoint, I love having children, so I think overall the business. Our children is what inspires us to work hard and to really make it work. You know what I mean? So from that perspective, I think it's inspirational having children, and that motivates you to continue to do what you do even in the face of adversity.
Definitely. And speaking of adversity, for all the other couples out there thinking about being in business together in general, what are some things that you found in your own lives that you'd like to impart advice to them, whether it be an experience or just some general advice that you'd like to give?
I could give some words of wisdom. Let's say
yes.
First, the first thing I would think of is, I would say think about what your life goals are first, like long-term goals, whether it's having a family. Think about what the success criteria is of your business. To me, that plays greatly. Like, you can be mildly successful, but that means I just want an ongoing business versus I want to be super, super rich. That all depends on the level of how hard you're going to work. The last thing I would say is, definitely pray a lot together, because, sometimes you're gonna with any business, with any entrepreneurial endeavor, you're gonna face hard times, and you need some kind of whatever spiritual, deity you believe in, something to kind of balance you out and give you that extra strength to pursue and go forward in face of adversity. So those are kind of the two or three things that I would kind of take away from this conversation. If I had to tell somebody, those are the three things that I want to depart or impart, I guess is the word. Hello? Hello?
I'm still here. I'm still here. My children were talking, so I put myself on mute.
Okay.
Selena, do you have anything that you'd like to say also?
And the question is really, what advice would we give to someone to manage the adversity, or?
No. Just what advice would you give to another couple who's looking to be in business together? I mean, if they're just starting out and, hey, these are some things that you need to look out for, or these are some things that you should be taking with you, or this is what you're going to need to kind of go in a battle.
Make sure that your relationship is solid and you enjoy each other's company. Because if you don't, or if you're, if one person's an introvert and one person's an extrovert, and you deal better having your own space or making sure that you have that time apart, I don't think that going into business together is a smart idea. There's just too much time. I mean, unfortunately, there are going to be those moments where you're lying in bed talking about the business. And so just want to make sure that you actually enjoy speaking to that other person on a very, very, very frequent basis, because that's going to be so important. And I mean, it seems like it would be a given because you've obviously decided to marry this person, but that's not the case. There are people that are, they are not very vocal or very, very communicative in that respect. So that to me is probably the foundation of what has allowed us to be successful thus far with the business.
Wow, and I keep on hearing that from couples over and over again, so it definitely must be important for more than just, a few. Any last words that you'd like to tell the audience about yourselves or about the business or about, I'm sorry, my child is just talking.
Go buy the wine, heritagelinkbrands.com. www.heritage, HERITAGE, link, LINK, brands, BRANDS.com. You can also go on our website and find out the different stores that our wine is in. That's it.
Oh, definitely. Selena?
But just say, follow your heart, follow your, whatever it is that gets you excited every time you wake up in the morning, do that. Whether that is having children, whether that's going into some entrepreneurial endeavor, whatever it is, just make sure that you're following your passion.
Well, I thank you both very much for your interview and taking the time. I think this actually is a really good interview. Really good interview. Y'all sound fun. I'd love to meet you.